One last battle to hold the line against the night.
The line must be drawn here. This far, no farther.
Hold the line. No one gets through, no matter what.
Sir, what are your orders?
There's only one order, Lieutenant. Behold.
Incoming transmission.
Allied reinforcements have arrived from the west.
On Mojo5.0 Radio, the millennial conservative resistance begins right here, right now.
Oh, yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the new millennial conservative resistance does indeed begin right here, right now, with you. You are listening to, and hopefully watching, the HoloNet podcast here on the mighty Mojo5.0. Greetings, jackholes and jillholes, HoloNet operatives alike. I am really pleased to have you here today on Saturday, the 27th of April, the year of our Lord, 2019. This week, wow, I can barely begin to describe it. This week, we have seen so many revelations, and I'm not waxing biblical on you, relax, but we've seen so many revelations of the ongoing deterioration of the political system here in the United States and also abroad, off in the UK. We've seen the absolute madness surrounding the candidacies of Sargon of Akkad, a.k.a. Carl Benjamin, and Count Dankula, a.k.a. Mark Meekum, in the UK. They joined the UK Independence Party, or UKIP, as reported last week, and the firestorm has been immediate and intense. We also saw this week the much ballyhooed and awaited announcement of the candidacy of former Vice President Joe Biden for the office of President of the United States in 2020. And he came out of the gate swinging at President Trump, but I think he probably should have kept his full mouth shut on this one, because my God, has he opened himself up to blistering counterattacks, and already the hits are coming in. President Trump has lashed out back at Joe, and the left-wing mainstream media is presenting this as Joe Biden presenting a trap to fall into, and President Trump falling right in. I disagree. We're going to go into a couple of reasons why President Trump's statement post-Charlottesville can be supported, and Vice President Joe Biden's have some serious issues. The media is presenting this as Vice President Joe Biden giving a simplified view that there were the good guys and the bad guys at Charlottesville, and yes, there were good people and bad people. There were a lot of bad people, and there weren't very many good people there. But to say that absolutely everyone on the right was evil and everyone on the left was good is far too simplified. What have we talked about on the show before? Nuance, folks! It is 2019, and we are continuing to experience the death of all nuance in our politics. It's polemic. It's polarized. If you're on the right, bad. Left, good. That seems to be what the mainstream media is all about right now going into 2020. This will be, mark my words, the most divisive, hostile, potentially dangerous presidential election of our lifetime. The left is desperate, and they are ready to counterattack. The question is, who are they going to line up behind? And, the same week as the NFL draft, outlets like The Blaze have been doing the Democrat draft. We've heard about Bernie Sanders, Louder with Crowder, of whom the HoloNet is a Mug Club supporter. They did all of the town halls, which, dear God, I wish I hadn't listened to, but I did. It was painful. It was really, really painful. But you know what it gave me the gumption to do? it gave me the gumption to think about how I'm voting with my dollars. And I want you to think about this too. Think about this today when you think about our sponsor for this portion of the HoloNet on Mojo5.0. We're talking about Patriot Mobile. Are you funding an agenda that you don't agree with? Are you funding the leftist progressive agenda? You probably are. If you're paying for AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, T-Mobile, any of the above, you are funding things that you don't agree with. You're funding Planned Parenthood. You're funding the ACLU, Unitas US, liberal candidates. You don't need to be doing it anymore. You have a choice. You can go to Patriot Mobile. Patriot Mobile has unlimited talk and text plans starting as low as $20 a month. It's easy to switch. You can call 1-800-8-PATRIOT, mention DOC, or visit patriotmobile.com/DOC. They'll waive up to 2 activation fees for you. Join thousands of Americans and switch to Patriot Mobile today, where your dollars can be used to support conservative organizations like the Heritage Foundation, the Susan B. Anthony List, and PragerU. And PragerU is cranking out amazing videos every day, and they are under constant, sustained attack from the left. We need to do everything that we can to support our brothers and sisters at PragerU, support these bigger standouts on the right, because if we don't stand behind each other and lockstep together, they're going to pick us off one by one. That's why this program supports Louder with Crowder through Mug Club. That's why this program supports all of the programming here on Mojo5.0. That's why we work hand in glove with other conservative sites with similar messages, conservative and libertarian sites. We have to stand together on what we agree on, disagree peacefully on what we disagree on, and seek to meet in the middle over what's important. And that's the true root of the HoloNet. And, you know, I've had waxing and waning faith about that, but I'm telling you, it's getting hard. It's getting difficult to be able to come to the table with some of these folks on the left because they've seemingly become completely unhinged from reality. And a good example of that is what we saw from Joe Biden this past week, where it's this revisionist history of Charlottesville. I have some audio from that we're going to go to. Yeah, I've got time for it. We're going to go to some live audio now. Now, normally I would go picture-in-picture here and flash this on the upper left, but it's getting a little difficult. I have way too many windows open here, so I'm going to flash up the Mojo5.0 website. If you haven't been on Mojo5.0, get on Mojo5.0.com. You can find all of my compatriots there, all of our fellow shows, and you can register to win a handgun from Tar River Arms. Limitations apply to that. Make sure you get in on that promotion. That is an awesome contest. I can't do it because I'm a host, so do it for me. Get on to Tar River Arms and get on Mojo5.0 to register to win a handgun from Tar River Arms. Do it. Get her done. All right, so I'm going to go to some audio now. Audio from Joe Biden launching his campaign, and his first thing out of the gate is a complete mischaracterization of the history behind the Charlottesville protest, the Unite the Right protest, and a really gross mischaracterization of the words of President Trump. We go to that audio from Joe Biden right now.
Charlottesville, Virginia is home to the author of one of the great documents in human history. Charlottesville is also home to a defining moment for this nation in the last few years. It was there on August of 2017 we saw Klansmen and white supremacists and neo-Nazis come out in the open, and they were met by a courageous group of Americans.
Hold that thought. A courageous group of Americans. Now, I did something silly, and I have this where I have to re-listen to it, so I'll start over again. I'm sorry, but I just can't stomach that courageous group of Americans. We'll come back to it.
Charlottesville, Virginia is home to the author of one of the great documents in human history. Charlottesville is also home to a defining moment for this nation in the last few years. It was there on August of 2017 we saw Klansmen and white supremacists and neo-Nazis come out in the open, and they were met by a courageous group of Americans. And a violent clash ensued. And a brave young woman lost her life. And that's when we heard the words of the President of the United States that stunned the world and shocked the conscience of this nation.
Here we go.
He said there were, quote, fine people on both sides. Very fine people on both sides. With those words, the President of the United States assigned a moral equivalence between those spreading hate and those with the courage to stand against it.
Okay. Here's where we're going to start. These courageous people that Vice President Biden spoke about. Let's take a look. Let's take a look-see. Who are those courageous people? All right, now, a couple different sources for the list, and it's not exhaustive. But Black Lives Matter, Antifa, Anti-Racist Action, the Democratic Socialists of America, the Workers' World Party, or WWP, the Revolutionary Communist Party, revolutionary is right in their name, kids, Refuse Fascism. You remember that's the group that carried signs saying November 4, it begins in 2017 and blocked traffic on Route 101 near Alameda in Los Angeles. Yeah, they shut down a freeway outside of LA. Yeah, that seems nonviolent. Redneck Revolt and the Industrial Workers of the World, and of course, Antifascista. All right? So, these are Joe Biden's courageous people. Antifa, Black Lives Matter, revolutionary socialist and communist organizations, Industrial Workers of the World, which was banned by the Taft-Hartley Act back in the 1950s because they were being run by communists and agents of the damn KGB. Okay, so these are the courageous people that Joe is talking about. And don't get me wrong, I'm sure there were some really great people who were there who were counter-protesting against the people on the right. I'm 100% certain there were good Democrats at this rally who got wrapped up in the whole thing the way it happens, just the same as there were good conservatives and good libertarians who were at this rally and got wrapped up in something they didn't want to. Okay, so we're going to go to President Trump's response as covered by CNN.
You also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Very fine people on both sides?
But today, Trump is doubling down, insisting that these chants
Jews will not replace us!
were about historic statues and not hate.
Do you hear the framing?
Talking about people that went because they felt very strongly about the monument to Robert E. Lee, a great general.
How obtuse must you be to believe the following, that President Trump was referring to men and women chanting that the Jews will not replace us, and chanting other racist and anti-Semitic slogans were there expressly to protect the statue of Robert E. Lee, who by all accounts, by the way, was a military genius. Yes, he fought on the wrong side. Yes, he was a traitor to his country, but we'll get back to the historical takedown of Robert E. Lee later. The key factor remains the way this is being framed by an ostensibly fair media organization, CNN. I'm going to play that again for you. Does this not come directly out of the media office of Joe 2020? Listen to this.
You also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
Very fine people on both sides?
But today, Trump is doubling down, insisting that these chants
Jews will not replace us!
were about historic statues and not hate.
I was talking about people that went because they felt very strongly about the monument to Robert E. Lee, a great general.
Now, around this time, I was covering stories here in Phoenix on theholonet.com about our own Confederate monuments coming under attack. I called it deconfederation. And it was a very similar situation, albeit not nearly as violent, but groups were calling for us to take down the Robert E. Lee Freeway, the commemorating plaque of the Robert E. Lee Freeway, Jefferson Davis Freeway here in Arizona was defaced, and it was cleaned up several times. There's a large monument in the center of Phoenix. It's shaped like Arizona. It's made of a bunch of the blue stones that we have here. You know, a bunch of Arizonans are going to go, "Ree! You don't know what that stone's called? I'm from New Jersey. Leave me alone." A bunch of the precious stones that are arranged in the shape of the state of Arizona, and it's donated by the Daughters of the Confederacy, commemorating the Confederate soldiers of Arizona. Okay, that's a thing that exists. That's in Wesley Bolin Park, right outside of the capital of Arizona in Phoenix. So we have our own Confederate monuments here, and there are people that want to take them down. I, for one, am against taking down Confederate monuments because you can't learn from your history if you erase it. Half of this country broke away over the topics of, yes, slavery. Slavery was one of the key topics, was one of the key reasons for the breakaway, and states' rights. They were rejecting the federal government's suzerainty over their state sovereignty, in particular in the case of slavery. It was absolutely wrong. It was a moral crisis of our country that could only be resolved through battle and bloodshed. We had to atone for the sin of slavery through shedding more blood than any other conflict in American history. That's what happened in the Civil War. People ask, reparations. Where are the reparations for black people? Where are the reparations for Native Americans? Where are the reparations? The reparations are soaked into the ground at Gettysburg, Antietam, every other Civil War battlefield. When I was a really little kid, we lived in Northern Virginia. And we actually lived in Manassas, Virginia. That's where the first and second battles of Bull Run happened. The Union and the Confederates bled the ground red at Bull Run 1 and 2. It is with that blood that we purified ourselves of the sin of slavery. Am I saying that washed away all the racism and segregation afterward? Nope, we were still racist and really segregationist, and Jim Crow laws were horrific, and it took a lot of growing as a nation, as a culture, as a society, growth within our souls before we grasped the mirror. We were forced to grasp the mirror by men of the likes of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and forced to see and acknowledge the horrible sin in our hearts. And we were able to move past that to live in a country today where unemployment for African Americans is the lowest it's been since they started recording it. Where there's more prosperity in this country than there has literally ever been in record. The job participation figures are through the ceiling right now. So don't let people tell you that it's the worst that it's ever been. It's a blatant, bold-faced lie. I'm getting off topic, though. Vice President Joe Biden described it as only the best people, only the best people, only the very best people. And, President Trump does not articulate things well. I'm never going to accuse the man of being poetical. But Vice President Biden said courageous Americans, giving praise to the likes of Antifa and Black Lives Matter and the revolutionary communist and socialist movements. These are groups that march under the banner of death. Socialism is the pursuit of a culture of death. Communism is the pursuit of a culture of death and deprivation. To march under those banners is to march under the dark banner of death itself. There. How's that for equivocating? Not equivocating at all. So Vice President Joe Biden has stepped in it something huge by deeming all of the protesters on the left, all the counter-protesters, to just be the most courageous possible Americans. A woman died. It was incredibly tragic. I hope that the man that ran her down rots in prison, because the taking of a human life for political means like this is beneath contempt and not appropriate in our country. But President Trump, as he explains, and CNN is quick to cut off at the end of their coverage, because, man, they cut away from that like that. The president wasn't talking about the KKK. He wasn't talking about the neo-Nazis. He's not talking about the men that were marching carrying tiki torches and shouting anti-Semitic slurs. No, he was talking about the people on the right who had come there in the interest of preserving history. Because yes, ladies and gentlemen, there were people at Charlottesville, at the Unite the Right rally, who had absolutely all to do with those anti-Semitic, racist, white supremacist groups. There were people there that had nothing to do with them, but did not have anything to do with the left either. And to present it as being this black-white, good guys, bad guys only argument is childish, it's stupid, it's demeaning to the American people, and if you buy it, there's a bridge in Lake Havasu I would love to sell you brick by mother brick. Okay? This is going to be a rant-isode. So buckle your seatbelt, Dorothy, because Kansas is going bye-bye. I'm getting pissed off about this one. I mean, I really am. I had a plan coming into today's show, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do what I normally do. I'm gonna hit these like 10 links, and I'm gonna read the stories, and it's gonna be great. We're gonna go through everything. It's gonna be fun. And no, then this crap. Then President Joe Biden heaping praise on Antifa, who by their very nature, who by their very actions, actually are and espouse the tactics of fascism. Punch a Nazi. No, that's not how things work here in the United States, sweetheart. You would have to go back in time to punch a Nazi. And you know what? I'm pretty sure if you would have been there when the gate fell down at D-Day and been ready to charge across the beach on Omaha, you would have crapped yourself and died. So let me tell you about our sponsor for this segment of the HoloNet while I have the heart to do it. I talked about it before. I did a little lead-in, but here's the proper. Get over to Tar River Arms today. Check out the April promotions. Right now, on any 6-hour P320 purchase, it comes with free shipping and a $25 gift card using promo code Mojo5.0 P320 at checkout. Plus, 6 Hour is offering TRA Guns customers 2 great offers for the P320, and you can get on there at www.6hour.com/promotions/sig-days. Buy any 6 Hour P320, receive a $50 promo code via email toward the SIG store. Buy a P320 M17 and receive 2 free 21-round magazines. And if you can't get it done in 21, you can't get it done. The P320 comes in all shapes and sizes. And as always, Tar River Arms is the storefront that comes to you with the free shipping and gift card. It is no different than purchasing at your local gun store, except you did it wherever you wanted. And you did it on your schedule. To get free shipping and the $25 gift card, the customer just needs to enter Mojo. I shouldn't have read that bit. To get the free shipping and $25 gift card, you just need to enter the code Mojo5.0 P320. TRA Guns, America's virtual gun store. We provide great guns, great prices, and great service. That's TRA Guns, Tar River Arms. TRAGuns.com. Boy, I got 4 minutes. You think I can squeeze a little more bile into 4 minutes? But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to shoot us across the pond for this second segment after we come back from our quick break. And we have got to talk about Sargon of Akkad and the hit job, the concentrated fire he is taking right now from the mainstream media in the UK. And my question is this, my wonder is this, where is the similar stand-up here in the United States? I know President Trump is doing amazing things in his presidency. He's also saying some of the dumbest crap I've ever heard in my life. We'll get to that shortly. But while the man says some particularly inarticulate things like there were good people on both sides, without then following it up with the qualifier that he did to CNN, because that was just stupid. I mean, you gave them the ammunition that they needed. He's not an overly eloquent man. He's not an articulate man in that sense. and he doesn't think in terms of how is everybody going to use what I just said against me. No, he's pure and authentic in that respect. And when I say pure, I'm not talking pure as the freshly driven snow ready for church on Sunday, folks. I'm talking authentic. Authenticity is the name of the game. And if you have a zero tolerance for bullshit, then you are well on your way to capturing the hearts and minds of everybody that you need to capture in order to win in the United States. And I think that we're seeing that now replicated in the campaign of Sargon of Akkad for Member of European Parliament from Swindon in the UK, who just got finished touring Gibraltar, by the way, and I strongly recommend you check out the content there. But where is this here in the United States? Where are the candidates? Where is the counter AOC, the counter Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who is meeting the media firestorm head on and basically telling them, I don't care about you. I care about the people. Where is the American Sargon? Where is the American Dankula to sweep into Congress, to storm the doors, to throw them open wide and say political correctness is dead? Let it rest in peace. Ladies and gentlemen, jackholes, jillholes, HoloNet operatives, we are that front line, and I know this person will come from among our ranks. I know this man or this woman is within the sound of my voice at this moment, and I will tell you, stand up. Stand up. If not me, then who? If not now, then when? To that end, I renewed my Republican Party membership recently. I'm going to start going to meetings again. This is going to get entertaining fast. Sargon, who I've been talking a lot about lately, just because he's been doing some great work, he did a great review of Starship Troopers. And a regular appearance in his videos, especially about UKIP, is one of the taglines from Starship Troopers, which is a very misunderstood film and an even more misunderstood book. But the line is, service guarantees citizenship. And you must serve your nation in order to be deserving of its citizenship. And serving doesn't just mean in the military. It also means in the political field as well. Well, ladies and gentlemen, service guarantees citizenship, and the time to stand is now. The time to organize is now. Libertarians and conservatives, I've spoken before about how there are forces trying to drive us apart. We must move closer together. Libertarians and conservatives have more to agree upon than we will ever have to fight about. We can spend a lifetime arguing about the silly things, but in the here and now, we need to concentrate on the big topics. We need to concentrate on the gag, on the muzzle that's being thrown on everybody on the right, by mainstream media, by organized Silicon Valley juggernauts, and everyone else who is an enemy of free speech, and who seeks to prevent Americans from speaking out. We'll be back. You're listening to HoloNet.
Mojo5.0 Radio. The millennial conservative resistance begins right here, right now.
The new millennial conservative resistance does indeed begin right here, right now with you. You are listening to and hopefully watching the HoloNet podcast on the mighty Mojo5.0. You made it through that first rant-aegis half an hour. I think that's a new word I just invented. Rant-aegis or rampageous. I don't know. Maybe I'm going to roll with that. Probably going to have to check back with the old editor-in-chief and see if that's any kind of valid. But we have to jump across the pond for this next segment. I promised you would, and here we're going to, because somebody who's gotten a great deal of mention on this program, who, if you haven't checked out his YouTube yet, what the hell is wrong with you? Get on that right now and correct it. Get on YouTube right now. Check out Sargon of Akkad. That is Carl Benjamin Sargon of Akkad, now candidate for member of European Parliament from the UK Independence Party. And I am telling you guys, I am looking for this man's equal, for this man's equivalent here in the United States, for the equal of this type of new millennial. You know, he jokingly refers to himself as a boomer, but I think he's about 15 minutes older than me. But we need to find this type of political actor here in the United States. Similar to Sargon, similar to Count Dankula, who have come to grips with the fact that the concept of political correctness is antithetical to freedom of speech. There is no place in modern politics, in the United States, in the UK, anywhere, for political correctness. Political correctness is a foul demon. Political correctness is a term that was born in the Soviet Union. It was born in Russia. Political correctness was a metric that was measured by the officers politique in the Soviet military to determine the loyalty of the troops, sailors, armies under their purview. And if you weren't found to be quote-unquote politically correct, then you were dealt with. And that's the way the Democratic Party treats with its own people internally right now, because once you're off the reservation in the Democratic Party, you're off. And it is how it is attempting to deal with people outside of the party, but you have to stand up and deny them that power, rip it away from their clutches by saying you just don't give a damn what they think. That you refuse to play by their rules, that you reject this power that they've attempted to exert over you, that they have no authority over you. And that is precisely what Carl Benjamin, aka Sargon of Akkad, did this past week when he was pushed by the British mainstream media to apologize for a tweet that he made 3 years ago to a sitting member of Parliament, a Labour member of Parliament, who he had recently criticized for some rather unfortunate remarks about male suicide. And in his words, she was being a total bitch. So in his words, he decided to be a total dick. And on Twitter, he replied to accusations of his endorsement of rape culture with the statement, "I wouldn't even rape you." So we're going to go to the audio of Sargon, a.k.a. Carl Benjamin, being challenged right after this quick announcement from our sponsor, Atrantil. Atrantil, that's Atrantil, if you haven't pronounced it before. They're at lovemytummy.com/mojo. Lovemytummy.com/mojo. Right now, they're offering a 90 capsule box. It's normally $39.95 a box. You can get 3 boxes with our coupon code. You get 3 months supply of bloating and digestive relief for only $99. You save over $20 on 3 boxes of Atrantil. They're the world's first ever over-the-counter proven solution for bloating, and they have 2 published clinical trials. They were developed by a board-certified gastroenterologist, Dr. Ken Brown. It's safe for daily use. It has 100% natural polyphenols designed to address bloating problems where they begin and not just treat the symptom. They're not a probiotic. They're not an antibiotic. It's a blend of polyphenols that's needed by your body to work as a gut regulator, to end methane, and then function as a postbiotic to benefit your overall health. It's the world's only digestive aid that contains Quebracho Colorado, and for you athletes, it's the world's only bloating remedy that is NSF certified for sports. So if you ever bloat after eating, if you ever get abdominal distension or tightness, if you ever feel tired or heavy after eating a big meal, have unpredictable bathroom habits, with constipation or even sporadic diarrhea, symptoms like IBS, That's Atrantil, lovemytummy.com/mojo. If you listen to our sister station, it's also lovemytummy.com/spoony. Make sure you check that out, Atrantil. And thank our wonderful sponsors for supporting Mojo5.0 and the HoloNet. So now, as promised, we go to that audio from Mr. Carl Benjamin, a.k.a. Sargon of Akkad, responding to this ambush journalism, this concentrated, defilade attack that he has been weathering at the hands of a mainstream media out to destroy him.
Because you guys are severely mismanaging the country. I mean, really, I'm just here to kind of mock the legacy media. Your numbers are going down every day, and our numbers are going up, right? Like, combined, the YouTubers are getting like 30 million views a month. You're dying. And it's because, do you know what your rating is on Trustpilot, business review site? 84% one star for the BBC, 59% one star for ITV, and 72% one star for Channel 4. I don't care what you say. You are just smear merchants. Not one of you can tell me what I believe. Not one of you knows. But all of the public know, because they can go to my YouTube channel, Sargon of Akkad, and just watch for themselves. I've been doing this for 5 years. I have nearly 1 million subscribers. Just go and have a look. I'm not answering your questions. I'm not apologising for anything. You dirty, dirty smear merchants. Get back.
Sorry, I had to throw a little bit of Kid Rock on there because it definitely earned it. I mean, that was a mic drop moment, and I think that the frighteningly loud strains of Ba with the Ba were very appropriate. So, what he's talking about, what the website that Sargon keeps mentioning here is trustpilot.com. This is a new website that allows you to rate how much you trust a corporation. And I just did a little bit of looking on here. And CNN, 89% 1 star, and MSNBC, 78% 1 star. This is the website he's talking about. Check it out. It's called trustpilot.com. You can plug in any companies that you want to on there, and you can see how much the people rate their trust level of these companies. And think about that when he's talking about the major news sources in England, in the UK, having 80% 1 star trust level. 1 star out of 5 stars. You wouldn't buy from that company if you were purchasing a product. Because I know, I shop around. My wife shops around when she's on Amazon.com. We pay very close attention to the ratio of the 5-star reviews to the 1-star reviews. So if you see 80% 1 star, would you buy from them? Would you accept the information, the product that they're giving you as valid? Because with these news organizations, that's the product. The information they give you, the opinions they give you, that is the product. When I'm doing this podcast is a product. This is the product that I am trying to convince you to consume in order to pay for our sponsors, get sponsors and do all this. This is a business. It's a labor of love for me because I'm just starting out. I'm a small guy on totem pole, but it's still a business nonetheless. And if I don't craft quality product where people rate me positively and tell others about me, then I don't stick around very long, do I? But that doesn't seem to work with the mainstream media, no. They seem to be immortal in their own minds, but they're wrong. They're dying out fast. And we need to look internally here among the jackholes and jillholes at Mojo5.0, among the HoloNet operatives, among the defenders of Defenders Live, all of the fan bases of the Mojo5.0 family, and we need to look within and find within this group the people who are going to carry the banner, who are going to step up and be counted, who are going to go over the top, man. It's time to get out of the trenches and fight this thing out for 2020. Because Joe Biden's lining up his troops. Elizabeth Warren's trying to charge her people up. We have Robert Francis O'Rourke, a.k.a. Beto from the block, trying to charge up some support and running afoul of some old campaign records that have been turned up by the Blaze. If you haven't checked that out yet, I think Glenn Beck rolled that out today. I haven't had a chance to read it, but it looks interesting. But to go back to what Carl Benjamin's going through, I have picture-in-picture right now. If you're watching online, you can watch us on Facebook, YouTube, and BitChute. You can see precisely how god-awful my hair looks today. But I have it pulled up right now on the picture-in-picture. These are the kind of withering attacks that he's putting up with right now. From the JC Reporter, we have UKIP candidate Carl Benjamin accused Jewish people of identity politics over the Holocaust. Controversial alt-right YouTuber revealed to have said, "I don't give a shit about the Shoah," the Shoah being a Yiddish term for the Holocaust. However, when you get down to his quote taken in context, and of course my screen's going to frazzle out a little bit. Here we go. He says, "If we want to have any idea that we're living in a meritocracy, if Jews weren't succeeding in our societies, they must be being held back. But they're not. They're doing great. Because they're not being held back because they do work because they are smart. Jewish people, unfortunately for them, have got to drop the identity politics. I'm sorry about the Holocaust, but I don't give a shit. I'm sorry." So if you read that sentence in context, like a thinking human being who actually scrolls down to the, sixth paragraph of the story, because most people drop off in the first 10 seconds, they'll never see this. But if you read this quote in the context, he's stating that he's sorry that they have to drop the identity politics because it doesn't fit their mold. They're actually quite successful because they apply themselves, because they're diligent and they're studious. He says they need to drop the identity politics because it doesn't apply to them. He states, "I'm sorry about the Holocaust, but I don't give a shit. I'm sorry." He's not saying he doesn't give a shit about the Holocaust. He's saying he doesn't give a shit about them not wanting to drop the identity politics. That's clear and self-evident from anybody reading this in context. But, as I said, typical person stops reading an article after 10 seconds if they click on it at all. When you're looking at this on social media, what do you see? You see the headline, UKIP candidate Carl Benjamin accused Jewish people of identity politics over the Holocaust, and you see the subhead, controversial alt-right YouTuber, number one, he's not alt-right, revealed to have said, "I don't give a shit about the Shoah, about the Holocaust." That is all the vast majority of consumers will read. They will not click on this article. They certainly will not scroll 6 paragraphs down to see it in context. This is the height of yellow journalism in the 21st century. This is the kind of crap that has not been seen since William Randolph Hearst lined up the Spanish for the fall with the sinking of the Maine. This is the mainstream media conducting a coordinated hit job because they are angry at someone. Next, we go to the Independent. UKIP candidate Carl Benjamin defends use of the N-word by saying, "I find racist jokes funny." Campaign group Hope Not Hate calls for YouTuber to be sacked immediately. A UKIP MEP candidate has defended his use of the N-word and other offensive language on YouTube by saying, "I find racist jokes funny." Mr. Benjamin, UKIP candidate for Southwest constituency, told Sky News, mind you all, folks, he is deliberately trolling the mainstream media. He told Sky News he was not really interested in discussing any of these comments and suggested that anyone who found his racist language offensive should go and have a cry. If you don't understand British comedy, British people are brutally incisive with their friends, with their mates, as they would call them. They are absolutely lethal in their wit, by and large, and most anything goes. Most anything goes. When you realize these people that are on YouTube for a living, these shitposters, they get online with their friends, they play games with their friends, and mainly what they do is they get online and they talk a bunch of smack. It's just what they do. So if we're going to put Carl Benjamin's entire YouTube record on and not listen to a word of what he has to say on policy, it's not the way to go. So I think he's absolutely dead on here about abjectly refusing to apologize, which I'm told, by the way, I keep using the word abjectly wrong. I need to check into that. But directly refusing to apologize. We go to the BBC. UKIP's Carl Benjamin not sorry for MP rape comments. We talked about this before the break, how he got on to Twitter about a Labour MP and said deliberately, "I would not even rape you." His exact quote was saying, "I wouldn't even rape you. Feminism is cancer." And this man is a deliberate, straight-talking, anti-third wave feminist. He does not believe in the current incarnation of feminism. He believes it has a neutering effect on our society, that it has been a demasculinizing agent. And, you know, I've heard sources on the right here in the United States say the exact same damn thing, and I agree with it wholeheartedly. I believe that the defeat of the masculine form in nature and in our society is a problem, that it is a critical loss to our culture, to our heritage, to our understanding of the human condition, that the masculine traits of a man and the feminine traits of a woman have an equal place and an equal standing in the family and in society, and neither can be easily removed. I'm sorry, but a family requires the yin and yang, the masculine, the feminine, the male and the female. A young man needs both influences in his life. A young woman needs both influences in her life in order to succeed. There is a reason that, statistically speaking, complete families rear children of greater educational and societal quality. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying a person has more intrinsic worth over another. I'm talking about this person's quality of life, quality of productivity, their average income in their life, their average education level, their level of success largely hinges on how complete and successful their family was when they were coming up. Exceptions to the rule exist. Son of a divorcee, sitting right here. My parents divorced when I was 11 years old, but I still had strong masculine influences in my life, which taught me what it was to be a man. And it is crucial that this remains so. And that is the type of feminism that, if you listen to 5 seconds of Carl Benjamin's profligate YouTube presence, I mean, it's everywhere. He's made hundreds of thousands of hours of video. If you listen to any of it, and if you take away anything from it, it would be that feminism has gone badly awry, and that it is now all about the defeat of all masculinism, not equality between the masculine and the feminine. This is not your great-grandmother's feminism. This is not the sister suffragette of Mary Poppins. Okay, this is not Susan B. Anthony's day. This is a dedicated movement that will not rest until all vestiges of masculinity are erased from our society. That's what Carl Benjamin pushes back against. That's what Gavin McInnes pushed back against and still does push back against. If you listen to Stephen Crowder, the same there. And any conservative or libertarian male should be able to say the same. So I digress. UKIP has been defending Sargon. They said UKIP Swindon wants... Oh, sorry. That was the wrong one. Here we go. Here we go. UKIP leader Gerard Batten rejected the concerns, saying there were people in UKIP that wanted to deselect him. It's called politics. It's the nature of politics. Politics are ugly. I wanted to pull up for you some of the things that in early American history presidential candidates actually said about each other. Let me see if I can find that. If you've never watched it, there's a fantastic HBO special out there on John Adams. And John Adams, here we go, CNN.com in 2008 actually posted this story about some of the dirtiest, nastiest campaigns that our founding fathers actually put on. This is off of Mental Floss. Negative campaigning has been in our nation's bloodline for centuries, and in England even longer before that. I mean, just absolutely brutal attacks. Let's see here. Trying to pull it up. Jefferson's camp accused President Adams of having, quote, a hideous hermaphroditical character, which is neither the force or firmness of a man, nor the gentleness and sensibility of a woman. So, in the 1700s, John Adams was referring to, Jefferson was accusing John Adams of being a hermaphrodite, exhibiting characteristics simultaneously of a man and a woman. In today's world, I believe the best response to that would be, "It's ma'am," at a GameStop. So it got even uglier after that. In return, Adams's men called Vice President Jefferson a mean-spirited, low-lived fellow, the son of a half-breed Indian squaw sired by a Virginia mulatto father. That's racist. So, extremely ugly American politics. Before your monocle drops out of your eye and you spill your tea and spit it across the room, you might want to take a look back into our treasured American history, into the political vaults of the time, and see how brutal, harsh politics. Thomas Jefferson would have been banned off Twitter by now. Thomas Jefferson, the man who wrote the Declaration of Independence, would be Twitter banned in 2019. I guarantee it. Take a quick break to talk about another one of our fantastic sponsors. And then I'm going to pull up some stuff from Andrew Jackson's campaign. You know, Andrew Jackson, the father of the modern Democratic Party? Yeah, no, there were some winners that came out of his campaign. But first, we're going to talk about cat coolers. Cat coolers give you a cooler so rugged it changes literally everything about going out and about and camping. It's rugged, keeps ice cold for 7 days. It's made in the USA. It's customizable. Comes in 4 different colors: white, black, yellow, and camouflage. Anything else you can do with it. You can have the logo that you want put on there. Comes in 4 different colors: white, black, yellow, camouflage. And we have a lovely discount code. It's www.catcoolers.com. Discount code you can use is Steven, and it's good for a 10% discount. Again, that's catcoolers.com. Make sure you check them out. Now, I can't believe it, but we're coming up on the end of the show. I know. Yeah, I was supposed to hit that live promo a little bit before, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, seriously, go back into the past. Check out Andrew Jackson's campaign. Absolutely ridiculous. John Adams and Thomas Jefferson got absolutely brutally ugly, and we need to stop blushing, crying, and running for the hills with this puritanical level of offense and rejection and resistance and calling for civility. Folks, civility has never... Hang on, I gotta channel my Chris Jericho. Ever been a part of American politics. It's a very new idea. And, you know, President Donald Trump has shown us, don't apologize. Don't show them that weakness, because it's blood in the water. So, Carl, Godspeed. And ladies and gentlemen, we have to keep our eyes open to everything that's moving. Keep your eyes across the pond right now at the fallout following the failure of Brexit and what I believe we will see as the rise of UKIP. And we're looking for the same here in 2020. The rise of a better type of candidate here in the United States. We can take back the parties. We can take back our politics. And it all starts right here, right now, with you. Good night. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America. End transmission.